Hey, what up? It's Quinn. And today we're going to attack some chess.com blitz. We are back at 1366, 34 points away from 1400. And we are trying to climb the ladder. Got a little bit less time now. Today was the first day of school, but I wasn't so busy that I wasn't able to make a video. So I'm glad about that. But I think that maybe heading into the upcoming semester, I won't have time to make daily videos, unfortunately. And also, I don't know if I'll be able to play a tournament every single weekend, but I will be going to chess club for the social aspect because it has that added benefit. The tournaments that I go to usually they have a lot of kids in them, so I'm not coming out of that with like new friends that I can hang out with or anything like that. So um, I might be cutting back on the paid tournaments. Plus, they're like $35 per tournament, which is kind of expensive. When I lived in Buffalo before, I used to go to Rochester, and the tournaments there were like $15. I don't know why they're so expensive here. I mean, a chess game is a chess game, right? Well, I guess one thing is that the tournaments in uh, Dallas supply the board. So when you go there, the clock and the board are all provided. Whereas in Rochester, you had to bring your own board. But anyways, I digress, and we are back on chess.com, the online version of chess, where when you click the pieces, it tells you where you can move and you can't make illegal moves, and everything's all nice and cozy. And we're playing Caliman, who I actually don't recognize this flag, so let me check real quick. He's from Costa Rica. Okay, interesting. Um, where he's 1182 rated. So here we have an opportunity to trade off. This is actually a very interesting move that my opponent just made. So takes. Uh, Let me see. Takes with a check, and then if blocks, takes with a check, takes with something else, and then take here. If he doesn't take with the correct piece here, he could be losing material. So I want to play this just so I can set a tactical trap for my opponent. Plus, if it does go to the end game, he does have a pass pawn, but I think it will be difficult to defend it. Okay, he plays bishop to e6, which I think is a decent in-between move here. I think I will just retreat my queen back a square, or even move it up a square, because it can't easily be attacked. Let me actually move it back a square because then I can take on c6 and my bishop is protecting the queen. Okay, he's going to go bishop to d5. Interesting move. Let's see, if I take here, he'll probably take with the knight or take my queen first. Well, if he takes with the knight, that won't be good for him. Let's take here and see what he does. He's got to take on b2, I think. Otherwise he has the pin that's going to cost him. Okay, so he goes that way. He takes with the bishop there. Let's go knight c3 with the idea of playing d5. Okay, he prevents that. Actually, don't really mind him trading off. I actually don't mind him giving me the two bishops here and giving me double pawns. So let's go for that. And he's going to pin my knight to the king, which is fine. Just go bishop d3, and we're going to try to gang up on this pawn. That's the game plan. But both players still have two bishops, so this is still a very active position. Okay, and now, can I get e4 in? Do I want to get e4 in? Or do I want to just kind of try to double up my rooks right away here and go after this pawn? I mean, he has a5, so he's not without options. Now the position is looking slightly more favorable for him, despite some pressure I can generate, because he has this passed queenside pawn here going into the endgame. So I have to drum up some play, maybe create my own passed pawn in the center. Looking at knight e5 to hit the bishop. He can simply move it back and then play knight to here. So that's not super great, I think. Let's play this move. Just develop. He's playing very well for his rating, which is frustrating. Okay, he trades off the bishop. I don't know about that move. I think that might be a mistake. Yeah, I think giving me the two bishops here is a mistake. And now what I'm going to do is try to maybe trade off this bishop. I understand I just got two bishops, but this bishop is also very strong, and it's protecting this pawn. I can also choose to blockade the pawn with my knight and then attack it later. Let's go for that. Let's keep the bishop on the board for now. And keep two bishops from my side, just so we can have an imbalance. This f3 pawn is taking away some nice squares from his knight. And now that I have the two bishops, I want to maybe open up the position a little bit more. I like possibly getting e4 in. d5, the issue is after takes, I'm left with an isolated pawn. I'm also thinking about getting the rook in on c7. I'm not completely opposed to the idea of trading off the bishop on b4 for the bishop on b2. I just want to establish that I'm not dogmatic about it. And then he's going to hang a knight. Okay, so that's going to make my job significantly easier. I was calculating a lot of positional variations before that move happened. Okay, and let's just trade off more material now that I'm up in material. And he's going to create some space for his king, which is totally good. And on that note, let's bring our king closer to the center as well. I just want to get it to e2. And then we'll search for a conversion plan. He's going to put his knight on d5. I don't see that threatening anything, so I'm just going to go forward with my plan. And now the bishop is protected. That was the only, the bishop and the knight are the only unprotected minor pieces I have. Another way to say that is the b2 bishop is the only piece that's protected in my position. The other ones are all unprotected. So I could work on my coordination more. Now do I want to trade things off? I don't like this knight being here, but I also don't want to kick it because he has knight f4, and that's a nice outpost for his knight. Maybe I can just improve the bishop slightly by putting it on e4, but then he has f5. F5, I might just trade, honestly, if he does that. Let's go for that. Also line up some tricks on the long diagonal. So I hope everyone is having a good start to their week. It's Tuesday, but those of us who are academically inclined have MLK Day on Monday. So Tuesday or Monday would have been a holiday. It's actually been quite cold in Texas. Today, when I was going to school in the morning, it was under 30 degrees. The temperature varies very dramatically between day and nighttime. Not like in Buffalo where it's just kind of cold the whole way through, so you know what you're going to get. But I had to go to school with like a jacket on, a big jacket. And then when I got back home, or when I was leaving class, it was like in the 50s, so I had to take it off and just carried it with me. Okay, we're just going to trade out material, and then I also want to just trade off this bishop, get this pawn, and I'm mostly looking at the time right now. I want to make sure I don't lose in that aspect of the game. Yeah, I think... maybe I don't have to worry about that pawn. Maybe I can just play king to d3. Let's go for that. And this pawn is unprotected, so he's got to watch out. And we are up a full piece. We're not up any pawns, but we want to go pawn grabbing soon. That is on the schedule. Okay, he's going to take there. Yeah, let's take back here with the bishop. Still eyeing up this pawn on h6. My king is a lot more active than his king, which is another reason why trading off material will be good, because it amplifies the importance of the king. The king is worth 4.5 points in endgame situations. Got to go back and protect here. And as soon as he moves his bishop back to b4, I'm going to go bishop to c3 and offer the trade. And if he doesn't accept the trade, I think I can just take on a5. We'll pre-move captures here with the knight. And time is evening up as well. So I know I haven't done any puzzle solving videos on the channel recently. And that's because my rating is really high now. The puzzles are quite difficult. And I was trying to be able to solve them faster, but it's still taking me like sometimes 15 to 20 minutes to solve one. And I just don't want to bore people with like one position for that long. It's not like these games where, you know, you're playing a lot of different moves. It can be very exciting and dramatic. And I want to be able to provide that element to my viewers if possible. Let's go passive here. I might also play some bullet, was an idea that I had. I'm pretty good at bullet. My bullet rating is 1840. I haven't done it on stream though, so I don't know if I'll be able to replicate that performance because I'll also have to be talking and entertaining at the same time. The talking part's guaranteed. Entertaining will be in the eyes of the beholder. But I might try that too. Just do like 10, 15 minutes of bullet. Maybe I'll actually hop on a bullet game at the end of this just to get my feet wet a little bit. The thing about the blitz games is that if I lose, I don't like to post the video because it's kind of a downer. But in bullet, I can just play 20 minutes. I'm guaranteed to have some like highlights and lowlights in there. So it's a little bit more watchable. Okay, I have a plan to grab the pawn. If he gives a check, I'll just take the pawn. And if he doesn't, I can block on b4, block his rook, and then just take the pawn with my king. So this is the very last little bit of counterplay that he has. And then, okay, so he's going to try to trick me. I got tricked yesterday, and it's not going to happen again, I guarantee you. So we're going to defend the knight this time before moving the king. So I'm taking math and I'm taking programming this semester, and I'm also taking some biology classes. I was actually going to check my schedule to see what my other class was. Let me actually do that real quick. Should have this memorized by now, but I don't. I'm taking a probability course, and that's happening tomorrow morning. So I'm taking 2 math classes and 1 programming class and 2 um, and 1 biology class. I'm taking 4 classes total. The the statistics class, I believe, is for people who are specifically doing my program, and we're not like statistics majors or anything like that. So I think it's not going to be as challenging as if it were a statistics major oriented math course. That's quite a mouthful. Not that I don't like a challenge, but I just think that with ChatGPT, unless you're someone who's doing like research in statistics, you don't need to have an advanced understanding of statistical theory to be able to functionally do statistics, the amount of statistics necessary to perform your job in 2026. And I'm not planning on going to research for statistics. So that makes things a bit easier for me, hopefully, in the field. Okay, this game is still tricky. Trying to navigate my way through it. I'm up on time now, so that's good. Just avoiding any sort of easy blunders. Also don't want to blunderuski my rook. If I go king d3, he's got rook d1 check. I'm sure he's got all these ideas in his head already. Maybe trying to play f4 here, create a pass pawn. He's gonna pick off my poor pawn on h2. I guess we'll let him do that. And then we'll create a pass pawn here in the center. And then we'll cut off his king. And he's going to be very low on time. This pass pawn is a bit of a concern. We'll just get my king closer to the action here. And as soon as I can support my rook, I don't want to do that necessarily. Let's go to this square. I think this is good. And then I'm just going to push this pawn. Okay, that doesn't do anything threatening. I can just continue pushing. The pawn is defended by my rook. Even that I don't have to necessarily respond to. I can just push. Let's say I can push. If he takes, I promote, and then if he promotes, I can just take it. So I think that's fine. I'll just let him do whatever. Okay, so he does take, and I'll just promote to a queen. I'm going to check the analysis later to see if I maybe blundered that at any point. Okay, so he is giving me a check here. Obviously, if I go into this direction, he's going to promote with a check to a queen. So let's go in this direction. And then we're just going to, okay, I'll just take the queen then. I thought he was going to take the rook with his king. Okay, and then this is just a straightforward checkmate. All right, let's take a look at the game review. Very interesting game. Only gained 4 points out of that. $79, so 1650 rating. My opponent also played at a 1600 rating, which is pretty impressive. Yeah, it felt like he was giving me a challenging game, other than his blunder. And even after he blundered, like it was, I still had to play accurately in order to convert. So that was a mistake. And hold on here. What should I have played instead of b takes c6? Said it was a miss. Knight c3. Okay, so just maintaining the tension here. And let's see the follow up. Okay, so that sequence of trades through maintaining the tension and capturing on b5 with the queen instead of the bishop simplifies to this position where I have the two bishops. And in addition, it's maybe a bit easier to generate play on this pawn because I have a lead in development on the queen side. Okay, so here he just blunders. And then here, let's jump to the end. Yeah, I thought maybe I blundered here. If he plays g2 instead of g takes f2, that was, I saw that in the game as well as soon as I played it. And then I was like, oh, shoot, because now he gets promotion with a check. Let's show that. So if I get out of the way there, he takes the knight and he jumps in front. Okay, and then we simplify to this completely even endgame. So I almost blundered into a draw there, but he had to find that tactic very, very precisely, and he unfortunately took on f2 instead. I would imagine this still would have been a sharp position. Let's jump into the analysis real quick. So after g2, let's say I go with this, and then he has to play king f7. This is the only move. King h7 is losing. So let's say he goes here, and let's say I go king f5. Lots of moves that could be played. If he takes here, that's also a draw. Recommendation is to promote, takes, and then takes the knight. Okay, with a check. And then is there an option to go to the h file, king h6? Then he just takes the pawn there. And then here, takes, rook takes, king takes h5. And this is a rook and knight versus rook theoretical endgame. It's a draw. Okay. So it's still pretty complicated. And he would have had to play very accurately, but he did have a draw there. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We did secure a win today. So that definitely feels very good. Looking at my schedule for tomorrow, I think I'll still be able to post. So I will say see you tomorrow, but I can't 100% guarantee it. But good luck tomorrow at work or classes, or if you're just chilling at home, maybe you can be on the job hunt or, whatever it is you got going on, playing video games or whatever. Hope you guys enjoy and have a worthwhile day. And hope you got something out of this video as well. And we're headed to the NFL playoffs this weekend, where the Patriots most likely are going to be heading to the Super Bowl. I'm still very bummed out about that. Because the Broncos have to play this no-name backup quarterback that they're going to need like a miracle to win. But backup quarterbacks have beaten the Patriots in the playoffs before, namely Nick Foles. So hasn't been undone, and they can always sign Tom Brady. So Tom Brady could join the history of great Denver Broncos quarterbacks, Peyton Manning and John Elway. So that would be quite comical if that were to happen. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you tomorrow.